and finally Layla's weaknesses and how to counter her. Times for each section are included so you can jump around to whatever you want to see. If this guide is helpful and you enjoy my content, please consider leaving a like as it helps me out quite a bit. Layla is a marksman that excels at poking enemies from long range. The key to getting the most out of her is to keep enemies just inside your attack range without letting them run away or push forward into you. She's one of the first heroes you'll unlock, and while she does well in entry-level matches, she is easily countered by players with a little bit of experience. If you're looking for a marksman to take you to the highest levels of play, Layla probably doesn't fit the bill. However, she is extremely fun, and with good teamwork and positioning, she can still be effective in the right hands. Layla's passive is called Malefic Gun. This allows you to deal more damage to enemies the further they are away, as illustrated here. The damage can increase to 130% and applies to both basic attacks and skills. Malefic Bomb is a long-range straight-line skill shot that can be used to poke enemies down or finish them off once you've softened them up. Leveling this ability will increase his damage while lowering the cooldown. This ability does benefit from critical strike. Keep an eye out for big damage numbers when you fire this off, and you may be able to pick people off with your ultimate. Void Projectile is a small AoE attack that slows enemies. Increasing the level of this skill will increase the range and damage while lowering the cooldown. This ability is great for keeping a fleeing foe inside your damage range, or slowing down a melee opponent that is trying to get in your face. Layla's ultimate ability, Destruction Rush, is a long-range straight-line skill shot that deals massive damage in a fairly wide line. Leveling this ability not only increases his damage and lowers the cooldown, but also increases Layla's basic attack range by 0.4. This is a great ability for sniping fleeing enemies, but can also be used in the late game teamfights to burst several opponents at once. Like any marksman, you should focus on staying safe while getting last hits on minions in the early game. Layla's effectiveness will increase drastically with items that increase her stats. I know that sounds obvious, but it's how attack damage based heroes in any MOBA works. Their attack power scales harder than other heroes, so be even more mindful than normal when it comes to gaining as much gold as possible. The game encourages marksmen to go to the mid lane, however, I don't like this for several reasons. One, you're an easy kill early, so people will go after you. If you're in the mid lane, they can come from two sides as opposed to top or bottom lane, where you only have to watch one avenue of approach. Also, the gold buff jungle minions are on the side lanes, just makes sense for the marksman to go to the side lanes. If you're very new to the game, just be flexible and go to whatever lane no one else did. I like to unlock Void Bomb as my first skill to avoid getting rushed down by overly aggressive opponents. Position yourself so you can poke at enemies with Malefic Bomb. The bomb will not pass through minions, so you need to fire from an angle. Use your basic attacks to clear out waves, step up and get kills if you see an opportunity, but only if you can safely do so. Try to kill the little crab dude on the side to increase your gold gain, preferably just before a minion wave arrives. I consider the mid game to start once you have your ultimate ability. This is when you should start getting greedy. Once you've destroyed the enemy tower, rotate and look to pick up kills. Don't be afraid to capitalize on the work of others with a cheeky destruction rush to finish off a weak opponent. People may grumble that you're stealing their kills, but as the ADC, it's your job to get gold, get stronger, and start shredding objectives like towers, the turtle, and Lord. You're the team's main source of sustained damage. If you can get well ahead of the enemy team's carry, you'll be able to win the game for your team. If dealing with some nasty comments from uninformed players is the price you have to pay to win, then so be it. If you have some lifesteal and you can see where all the enemies are on the minimap, go ahead and solo the turtle. Keep an eye out for easy ult kills, group up with your team, and push those towers down. Late game is much like the mid game, however this is when you should be focused on taking down the Lord and winning team fights. You can still use your ultimate to secure kills on fleeing enemies, however I like to use it when I see a large clump of enemies even if they are at high health. By this time, you should be well into your build, and winning team fights in order to push for the core takes priority over gold gain. Hitting several people with a destruction rush can be devastating. When people see most of their teams suddenly lose a huge chunk of health, they tend to start backing off, which is right where you want them with Layla. If you've done a good job of farming gold in the early and mid game, your damage combined with a bit of lifesteal will allow you to go toe-to-toe with most opponents. The late game is where marksman heroes truly shine, so enjoy it. Now we'll go over the preparation phase for Layla, starting with emblem sets. While the marksman set provides the most benefit to Layla, I suggest you instead use and level up the physical emblem set. That way you can transfer the benefits of that set to other classes like fighters and physical damage based assassins. I suggest the generic sets for most new players, but especially with Layla, you'll find that you'll probably end up switching to someone else as your main. There are a few battle spells that are useful to Layla. Inspire is a very flexible option that is unlocked early. You can use it to burn down heroes, shred towers, or take down the turtle or lord faster. Once you have some lifesteal, it serves as both an offensive and defensive ability. Unfortunately, the best battle spell for Layla, which is Flicker, unlocks fairly late. Flicker allows you to teleport and is not blocked by terrain. With a hero like Layla, who is heavily dependent on positioning and highly susceptible to melee ganks, this is by far your best option. For builds, I just use a modified DPS burst build that works great for me. You can try to use some of the top player builds, but they tend to swap out lifesteal for damage. They can do this because they play in coordinated teams. I highly suggest you pick up lifesteal when solo queuing, as you don't know how your team is going to play, and it's up to you to keep yourself alive. I'll explain my build, however, I encourage you to try out some different items to suit your own playstyle. My build revolves around safely killing opponents, however, you can substitute more crit chance items if you plan to poke people down with Malefic Bomb. First is the Demon Hunter Sword for some attack power and speed, but mostly for the consistent lifesteal. Second are the Swift Boots for the movement and attack speed. Third, and this is where I deviate from the standard a bit, I pick up Corrosion Scythe. It gives you some attack power and speed while also making you a little bit faster. Where it shines is the 50% chance to slow enemies with basic attacks. It's only a 20% slow when using ranged attacks. This is more of a melee hero item, but it's still very noticeable. I use this mainly as a defensive tool. Enemies moving slower while I move faster allows me to kite anyone trying to gank me long enough to either kill them or for my team to assist. It's also great for keeping someone inside your attack range. If they're trying to run away, a lot of times when you're attacking, they'll just walk out of your attack range. If you're slowing them down, they stay there and you're able to step up, shoot, and keep going. Fourth is Berserker's Fury, a huge boost of attack power and a bit of crit chance. It will also increase your attack power for a couple of seconds after you crit. Fifth is the Scarlet Phantom, attack power and speed with 25% more crit chance. This also has an on crit effect that increases your attack speed and crit chance for 2 seconds. This thing feeds itself. The final item is Blade of Despair, a massive amount of attack power and some movement speed. This item will increase your attack power by 25% for 2 seconds after you hit a half health enemy. As I've mentioned several times, Layla is easily countered. You can cut her damage output by 30% just by standing next to her. Any hero with the ability to get in close and stay there will easily pick up a kill on Layla as long as they are reasonably close in level. Void Bomb is great for keeping folks at bay, but if they have a dash, they can simply get right back on top of you. While I've spent a lot of time here talking about how Layla may not be the best choice for experienced players, she can still be a blast to play. She's very effective early on, which is who this video is targeted at, is early players. If you're a new player just dipping your toes into the game and you want some easy wins, try out this pigtailed damage dealing monster. For more guides, check out the link in the post or at the end of this video. Please leave a like if the video was helpful and consider subscribing for more content on Mobile Legends and a variety of other games. For now, this is the Mangoose signing off. You guys have a good one. Mangoose!